Recording in progress.
All right, so let's start. Of course, you know already, my name is Akin Aregbesola. I'll be your trainer for the beginning and the end of this 5 months training. And in the 5 months training, we're going to have an overview of everything will be covered, different courses and what they represent and what you'll be able to do at the end of the 5 months. All right, so this is US class. Specifically, we'll be covering all courses leading to DevOps. What is DevOps? We'll talk about it. Where's that from? Is that from me? All right. So feel free to ask questions because this actually, the essence of this session is to give you the opportunity to ask any kind of question that will just help you be on the same page as people who already know one or two IT. But I'm going to assume that you do not know anything. So I'll start from the very basic. We are not going to the technical training today. We are just doing an overview, just so that we prepare you for technical training. All right, so let's go. Let me use my drawing board. Okay, so first of all, the whole essence of IT generally, and maybe cloud more specifically, is to allow deployment of application. And when we say application, what do we mean? Example of application, what we used to call software, would be application like Uber, like from regular websites that you see, Amazon.com, Google.com. They are not just websites, they're applications. They're actually solving problems. There's something special that they are doing. Another example of application is the Zoom that we are using now. What are we using it for? What's it doing it for us? For us now, it's an online classroom. All right, it's enabling collaboration so that irrespective of where you are, we are all in this class learning together. So there are millions of different applications solving one kind of problem or the other. These applications are essentially codes. So they are codes, they are programs. And these codes are compiled to form what we call application. Now, applications do not just run in thin air. Applications need computers. All right? When you deploy an application in a computer like that, this computer in which the application is deployed becomes the server. So generally, when we say server, it means that there is something, generally application, that computer is serving to the world. So people, machines, organizations, customers, end users, irrespective of what name you call them, they are connected to this application. And they can now use this application to perform the function that you develop the application. All right. However, it is not as simple as just having one computer serving 2 million customers. There are so many aspects of IT that need to be taken care of before this computer can be made a server, or more specifically, in this case, a web server. All of those functions ideally cannot be completed by one computer. So you want to have another computer, another computer, another computer, but these days we don't really call them computer. A general name for computers, because they may not necessarily be computers, is machine. And your machine could be a tiny device or could be as tiny as your earpiece or as big as your regular mainframe. Anyway, so you have machine 1, machine 2, machine 3, machine 4. Each machine performing its own unique role in the process of making this app globally available. But they are not working in isolation. They are all connected together so that they can work together as one family, communicating with one another and performing their roles together. When you have a situation like this, when you have multiple computers connected together as a family and working together, you say that you have a computer network. So network, it's written network. What do we mean by network? It's simply an interconnection of multiple computers. In this case, I'm assuming the traditional kind of network where you have this computer connected through a cable. A cable will run from that computer to this device here called a switch. All right, so that is a switch. The cable will run from this computer to this switch. The cable will run from this computer to this switch. The cable will run. So through these links, all of these computers are now interconnected. This is a link, this is a link, this is a link, this is a link. Even though this is cable. It's not always cable. These days, it's mostly wireless. So you could have wired connection and wireless connection on your network. So when you have, if I assume wire, when you have this switch, the function of this switch is to, like the name implies, is to interconnect. All right. So this computer wants to talk to this computer, for example. This machine has a service that this machine requires. Maybe, for example, to authenticate the users coming into this network to access this application. If this machine is the machine that needs to authenticate, who are you? Are you authorized to come into this network to access this application? All right. Even when you're authorized, what level of permission do you have over this application? And even while you are on the network accessing that application, it is also monitoring to at least record what is going on. All of those functions is generally called AAA. All right. So authorization, authentication, authorization, and accounting. But don't worry about it. But the point I'm making is the function of IT is usually not handled by a single computer, can be split among many machines so that this guy does the part. So for that reason, you need to have a network of many computers working together to perform that function. So that network is what I'm explaining here. When that network is small and within a room or within a building, that kind of small network is generally called local area network. Local area network. We're made up of 5 computers, 200 computers, 700 computers, as long as they are all within a building and not integrating many buildings or across town or across cities, it is a local area network. All right, so the reason for networking is just to set up the infrastructure, the base on which you run your application. Without application, there is no need for that. Without something that you want to put on the server for the world to see, maybe not even the world, maybe for a corporate organization, for all the staff of that organization to access and use for the organization to perform its role and its function, then there is no need for networking. All right. So networking does not stop at networking by itself. Networking is necessary to allow deployment of application. All right. Any questions so far? So that means that for you to have an application deployed, running well, and performing all the necessary functions, you must first have a network. But the concept of networking that I drew earlier on is no longer in vogue. This concept where you have to have once you have a contract, then you go to the market to buy, you order 50 computers, and then you set up, you call a network engineer, they come to your hall, to your warehouse, and they set up that for you. They run cables from all of the rooms, sometimes through the attic, and then they connect to a special room called server room. And then there you have the switch, and then they put a label, do not enter, so that all of this is working together as a single network called. That one is no longer involved. What is reigning now is that this physical machine 1, machine 2, machine 3, they are not physical, they are not hardware. You don't go to the market to buy them anymore. And these links are no longer cables. This switch does no longer exist. I mean, in the modern way, it's not like they are completely wiped out. So what you do in place of this is that you go into cloud and you set up as many virtual machines as you would need to accomplish this task. And these virtual machines, by the nature of cloud, are already networked. So this is the virtual equivalent of this physical network. So you can now set up your own, the equivalent of your physical network. Instead of renting a place, buy a generator, provide your own power, provide your own security, run your own cables, and the liability of the machine going down is on you. All of those traditional ways of doing IT is old and is no longer in vogue. What's in vogue now is that the third party has now provided all of this infrastructure. All you do is just log into cloud, have access to all of this impact, all of these services, and then you can architect, you can bring up the services that you want, put them together in ways that you want, and use it as your network to deploy the application that you were hired to set up the infrastructure. So if you are going to learn this like 15 years ago, you go through this networking, at least the concept of routing and all of that. But these days, no. We just go into cloud, begin to set up virtual machines, and then begin to configure these virtual machines as we would have configured them if they were physical machines, and then ultimately learn how to automate the process of spinning up virtual machines. So this is what we are going to learn in cloud. Broadly speaking, there are many cloud service providers. There are many companies that have set up infrastructure physically in data centers and make this infrastructure and the services available to the public so that they can come into those infrastructure and rent a space, like you are renting a room in a hotel, or you're even renting a house that you did not build, all right? And then you can have access to the resources. You are billed for whatever you use. So there are many companies, but the three most popular companies that are providing this kind of services, kind of cloud services, are Amazon. The cloud service that Amazon as a company provides is called AWS, Amazon Web Services. And then there is Microsoft. The cloud services that Microsoft provides, they named it Microsoft Azure. And then there is Google, and the cloud service that it provides, they call Google Cloud Platform. All right, so these are the three most popular, this one being the most popular of them. So for that reason, most popular of them means that this is the one that most employers use to set up their infrastructure and deploy their application. So for that reason, we'll be looking at cloud from the eye of AWS. So every time we say cloud, without specifying which of these platforms we are referring to, what I have in mind is AWS. All right. Let's make sure all of that makes sense so far. Any questions? Any question? All right. So what do we need to have in place in order to deploy our application? So you are working for a company that has either deployed, they have a global app, for example, an app, WhatsApp, an app that allows you to communicate, to make phone calls. So WhatsApp employs you, so which means that they need you to support, to be part of this team that supports the high availability and the normal working of the app WhatsApp. What was the fundamental thing that had to be in place before they could deploy that app?
Server.
All right. Server, okay. Anything else?
Okay. I think a network needs to be in place for them to be able to deploy the app.
Yes. So server is correct, but network is more correct. So when we say network, we mean that it contains all of the servers that the app will need, and then all of the other infrastructure that we may not even know exist now, alongside the services like security, like firewall, and so on and so forth. So network is better. And then when you have a network made up of so many services, made up of many services and devices and equipment. Yeah, they could be in the form of hardware, that we call them devices, or they could be in the form of software, call them services. Each together will refer to all of these individual components of the network. So if we say this is the network now, this is a component in the network, this is another component in the network, this is another component, this is another component. Even the cables, they are part of it. All of those individual components are together called network infrastructure. All right? So your network is made up of network infrastructure. Give me 2 examples of network infrastructure. Server, switch. When one computer is a server, generally speaking, and the other one is not a server, but depending on this one to serve this, then we'll call this one client, or you can simply call this computer. So even though a server is a computer, we differentiate between the server that is requesting a service and the server that actually has the service and pushing the service. So the one in which you deploy the application is the server, and the computer that is requesting, for example, if you work in a bank and the bank running the bank app for running customer accounts and everything that the bank does is managed by a particular app. So when you are sitting on maybe in your office and you are requesting using the bank's computer to request to query the data of a customer, that computer that you are sitting, that you are working from, will be termed computer, whereas the one that has the data that you are drawing is termed server. All right. So yes, correct answer. Server is correct, but network is more correct. Because server you are saying that, but network you are saying a lot of things in addition to this. Correct. So what's the goal for setting up a network? What do you want to achieve?
To be able to deploy applications that we can use.
Correct. To have a base infrastructure.
A platform.
Yeah, a platform that you can put your application. Correct. So the traditional way of setting up a network is to go buy your physical components such as servers, cables, routers, switches, computers, and all of the software that work with them, and then set them up in a hall or in an office, and so on and so forth. That is the old school way. What is the new school way of achieving that same goal?
Using the cloud.
All right, correct. What do you do in the cloud?
Set up different computers, different.
Okay, on the cloud, you can actually set up virtual machines. Virtual machines that would serve as.
Gabe, you are all correct, but this JC, you seem to be using the right terminology. So on the cloud, you set up virtual machine. In fact, mentioning virtual tells me that you know that cloud is not a physical place, it's a virtual place. All right, beautiful. Cloud set up virtual machines. Or if you wanted to say, if you wanted to use a better terminology than machine is correct, is super. What's the alternative you could replace? You could use in place of virtual machine?
Maybe virtual computers.
Yeah, machine is even better than computer. So, okay. What's the general name for all of the elements that you set up in order to form a network? Apart from
infrastructure.
Infrastructure, yes. All right. So this is the basics. Once you know the meaning of these terms and you're able to use them, at least in conversation, then you're on a good start. All right. So what we'll be learning is we'll take you into cloud. I'm not sure we'll do that today, but as soon as we start training, we'll take you into cloud and then we'll show you as many of the services in cloud that we can show you. We'll open this room. This is where all the servers are kept. If you want to set up one, this is how to do it. All right, take it to another room. This is the place where Route 53 services are kept. What's the meaning of Route 53? We'll explain it and so on and so forth. Oh, this is another room. Here, if you want to set up servers and you are not sure how many requests will come to the server, therefore you want to make it highly scalable so that whether you have 1 million requests or you have only 5,000 requests, the server should not go down, should continuously remain highly available. This is the service that you use. So we'll just show you around and then introduce it to these services and actually help you to set up, manage, and run the services. That's what we'll be doing in cloud. And at the end of that, you'll become somebody who can now go into cloud, specifically into AWS, and you know the services that are available to a large extent. No one man actually can use all of the services. There are close to 2,000 services there, comprising of over 30 different aspects of IT. All right, but for you, you will know the different services and you know what server you can pull, what security you can pull, what command you can enter to assemble the network infrastructure or to assemble the infrastructure that we need for the application that you have in mind. That your employer, Uber, your employer, Zoom, your employer, Google, your employer, Amazon, that you say, this is what you want to achieve. You know how to go in there, set up the infrastructure that will support that scenario. The ability to do that is called solution architect, or you become cloud builders. Another word for builder as we use here is architect. You become a cloud architect. But once you get into a server, when you create a server and you go into the server, you say, now I have a server. Let me open the door and go into the server and arrange the server the way I want. Tell the server what to do, install, because owning a server is like you have an empty room. You create an empty room. But going to the room, putting a TV there, putting a sofa there, putting a bed there, and all of that is up to you. So the way to tell the system, create another room for here, call it kitchen. Create another room here, call it living room. Create another, now put this here, put this. You tell the system all of that by using commands. You tell your machine commands. And the commands you use here are built out of the operating system that servers use. That operating system is called Linux. So Linux is the operating system that servers use. So after you have set up the server and the server is active, you can see it, you see all of the outside, the beauty and the labeling. To go into the server now and begin to operate the server, you need, this is the operating system that will run in. So if you do not know the commands, the Linux commands to tell the server what to do, you'll not be able to do it. So you need to learn Linux commands so that when you get into the server, you know what command to type here to say, server, I want to create a file, and I want to build that file to become my website. It's a command. So the kind of screen you see, that's what I'll go to do. It's a command. So for that reason, so that you are not just people who build on the outside is beautiful on the outside, but when you go inside, there is nothing because you are not able to do anything on the inside. We are going to first of all learn Linux. So the first course you will learn will be Linux operating system. Linux operating system. Or more specifically, Linux commands. With Linux commands, you now know how to manage this infrastructure, or more specifically, the server. All right. And then the third course you'll be learning after AWS, after you have become solutions architect. Actually, you will not yet be solutions architect, even though you would have covered the curriculum of AWS solutions architect. The reason is because nobody will hire you going into cloud to use my mouse and use my pointer like I'm trying to do here to click this and then put the server here. To click another kind of server and then put the server here. No, this is called manual operation. Manual operation. It's going to take you forever to set up a simple VPC. So what employers are looking for are, yes, people who understand how these things work manually, but are now able to write codes that will automate the process of setting up this infrastructure. So the way to do that is to go through a course that we are going to call infrastructure as code. Infrastructure as code would allow you will learn with the commands that you already know here and the services that you already know here. You will learn how to write scripts that can go into cloud on your behalf and set up server instead of you manually going to cloud to set up server. So it means that if you have managed to complete a project for MTN, for example, and the project is doing fine because you set up 500 servers, you deployed your web server on one, you deployed your gist server on another one, you deployed your Kubernetes on another one, all of those, and everything is working fine. By the time Glow hears that, oh, there is one JC who designed that project that has put MTN there, and MTN is doing really well, we need him to come and do the same for us. You are not going to Glow to, oh, this is US class. I'm giving Nigeria an example. Okay, sorry about that. So you will not be going to the new company, for example, Bank of America, to repeat that same project that you had deployed successfully for a different bank. All right, maybe for West Fargo. So why? Because you would have converted the hard work of 3 years that you did for Wells Fargo, you would have converted it to codes, and you now have the codes. All you do now is take the codes to Bank of America and run the codes. And everything you accomplished in 3 years, you just see them coming up running codes in 2 hours in the new project. So that is what we call automation. Not running things manually like you did the first time, but the second time, it's already automated. Everything just comes in 2 hours, everything is. So to do that, we are going to teach you infrastructure as code using a tool called Terraform. And another tool, again, on top of that, called Cloud Formation. It is only after you have learned how to complete this task here using infrastructure, that is when we can now call you a cloud architect. And at that level, you may begin to look for work. But without this and without this, you just go straight to this one, like I guess many of you already have, and that's why you are here. You now realize that, oh, That is not what the industry is looking for. And now back to learn this. All right. Take another break so I can take your question. So this is what we are going to learn. So after the first 3 months, month 1, month 2, month 3, you first of all become a cloud solutions architect. And if you now decide, oh, this is beautiful, I want to go all the way to the top to become DevOps engineer, we'll now build on top of this and then make you a DevOps. Yes. All right, no questions. Okay. What is infrastructure as code? What does the term infrastructure as code mean? Anybody?
Okay, I think it means more like creating an automated, more like creating a script to automate processes. So okay. Yeah, I don't really have
yeah, that's good
a
enough.
Robust idea about it. Just yeah,
that's good enough. I mean, yeah, let's just see if everyone else is following. Samson, say for me, what's your idea of infrastructure as code? What do you think?
Also, infrastructure as code. Can we also, in addition to automating, is it also called configuration?
What are you configuration is a general term, loose term. So what are you configuring?
Configuring our infrastructure in the cloud. Instead of manually, I mean, that's the automation. So is it also called configuration, or just for right now, like Terraform? Is Terraform only used for automation?
So Terraform automation is the technology. Now there are tools for every area of IT. There are specific tools that we call to make that possible. So Terraform is one of the many tools. In fact, the most popular tool that we use for automation. We are going to learn scripting using Terraform. We are going to learn scripting using CloudFormation. But it's basically about automating manual processes. A manual process will be, for example, like you are manually going into the console of AWS to use your mouse to drag and drop stuff. That is manual. The automation will be writing a code that will perform that manual task without your intervention. The code by itself will run with speed up itself. That is it. So infrastructure as code is automating the provision of your infrastructure. Yes, I will explain that for them. I just wanted to see if you have an idea. All right. So that's what infrastructure as code is. What about Linux? Why do we need Linux? So we're going to, there's a course called Linux, and that is the first course we're going to start with. Why do we need it? What's Linux?
I think Linux is the operating system that we use all through our applications, even all through DevOps. Linux is the application that we use in the cloud to automate our infrastructure in the cloud. And not automate, not place. It's just what we use when we need to write codes or like make it directory or and so on. I think Linux is operating system is what we use.
Okay.
Linux is the command we use in the cloud.
Okay. B, what's your full name?
Say it again, sir.
I see B, the person who just answered. What's your full name?
Temidayo. Sorry, okay. Temidayo.
All right, Temidayo. All right, not bad. Who else can help? Bolanle.
Sorry, Linux is the operating system that you use in the cloud for all the automation and all the saving of data.
Okay, so Linux is an operating system. Fundamentally, that's what it is. It's an operating system.
Okay.
Okay? So Linux is an operating system. That's fine. So what devices use Linux? Mobile phones, computers, routers, switches. What devices? Where would your power really come out to say, oh, I'm a Linux person? Where are you working? What are you sitting on? What are you sitting at to work as a Linux person? It's an operating system. Operating system for what? All right, so you didn't get that part. Let's revise
I think
that.
a computer, and you're sitting there, you're working on the cloud. I don't know.
Okay, so let's see. So Linux is the operating system for servers. Your servers, in your own case, will be dealing with servers in cloud. But even if the servers were not in cloud, even if they were physical servers, as long as you call it server, it's the operating system that is running that server is Linux. It's run by the operating system of the server is Linux. Compared to Windows. So the two general, actually three, there are three operating systems: Linux, Windows, and then Mac. Mac is not so common because it's more proprietary, it's more of, you know what I mean by Mac? The Apple operating system, Apple products. All right. So when we are saying Linux is a server operating system, we're actually comparing it to Windows. So when you have a system that is running an app and then it is connected, you are connected from your laptop, and then this is the internet, and then you come here, you connect through the internet, you can request this website or this app to a website from this server. Then your request is granted and it is given to you through HTTP, and then you get it here, and then the website is now displayed here. Generally, you are assumed to be using Windows operating system on your side, which is, in this case, is your computer, your client computer. And then this system here that is running the app is called the server, and is running Linux operating system. So between Windows and Linux, Linux will run on server, Windows will run on computer. By computer, we mean the system that is requesting services, that is requesting this app. All right, all the way. All right. So every time we say Linux, we're actually comparing to Windows. So you are the engineer. You are the people who would be setting up the infrastructure in cloud. Therefore, you'll be working here. You'll be working here all of the time. This is where you are working. Meanwhile, the customers that you are deploying, you are doing this for, are the people from Japan, from Taiwan, from Nigeria, from US, that will be connecting to this app that you are supporting, either as a cloud solutions architect or as a DevOps engineer. So this is your place. This is not your place. Yeah, you may be running Windows to test what you are doing here, even before you make it public, before you put it on production to see, this thing that I just did, is it working? You may use Windows to test. But the server that you are working on will be running Linux. Therefore, you should know about servers, you should know about Linux, you should know about infrastructure, you should know about cloud, you should know about everything. This is your workplace. All right, so you get the place of Linux now. Linux is the operating system used by servers. All right? You are here to train to become more like a server engineer. I mean, for just using the word loosely. So everything that happens inside server and around server, everything in code, because one man cannot really know it. That is what and the start point is to first of all know what operating system. But operating system will mean the manager, the supervisor of the server. You as human and the server as machine. The software that you can use to manage that server, the software that is between you and the server. So that if you want to tell the machine, do this, it is this software that you talk to. So that software is limited. Even if you want to use another software to tell the machine, it's limited. That's not a command to tell the other software. And the way to tell this, to issue your instruction to Linux is by Linux commands. And that's what we'll be learning. The different commands, about 120 of them altogether, the different commands that you can use to tell Linux, do this. Oh, who asked you to do that? Don't do that, bring this. Take this call, go keep it. Those commands, that's what we'll be learning. All right, so far so good. Okay, so have an idea what Linux is, what servers are. Where are servers deployed? So as a cloud solutions architect, you need to set up a server. Where do you do?
Go to the cloud.
Go to the cloud, correct. So what cloud provider, how many cloud providers do you know? And which one would you prefer and why?
AWS, Azure, and Google.
All right, so who owns AWS?
Amazon Web Services.
So Amazon, AWS, Microsoft,
Amazon Say it again. Okay.
Amazon, AWS. Amazon, AWS, Microsoft, Azure. It's pronounced Azure, even though it's written Azure.
Okay.
And then Google Cloud Platform. These are the three commercially available cloud providers. Which is the most popular of them?
AWS.
Amazon.
AWS, yeah, Amazon AWS. I just use Amazon AWS to remind you that it's owned by Amazon. If you just say AWS simply, I understand that. Because AWS means Amazon Web Services. So, all right. So after those three initial courses, what are the other two courses that we are going to learn to make us DevOps engineers? Okay, so the other courses would be on top of those three that will make us DevOps engineers. And then first of all, what is DevOps? So DevOps means, you know, as a cloud solutions architect, what you did, cloud RP. So what you did here was to go into cloud and set up infrastructure. Right? I don't just want to say server or network. Let's call it set up infrastructure that will be ready to take in and deploy your what? Your application. But your application is not there. Now, this is the place of DevOps. In DevOps, another department of IT is going to write the application. It's going to write the codes. You write codes maybe in Java or in Python, in any programming language. This is your role. When developers write code, you as DevOps engineer, you will take those codes and you will build the codes into application. You build the codes into application. And then you would now deploy this application inside the infrastructure or into the infrastructure that the cloud solutions architect designed, built, architected earlier. So your app is going to run inside here. So this is the place of DevOps. So this person sets up the infrastructure and makes sure that the infrastructure is ideal for this application. However, he did not build the application. The application was built by developers. Again, developers that build the application will not deploy the application into the infrastructure. It is the DevOps engineer that will take the codes. In fact, these people, they don't even know that they built application. They wrote codes. It is the DevOps engineer that will take the codes and convert the codes to application and then deploy the application into this infrastructure. It is when the application is in this infrastructure that it is now available to all the millions of customers that are waiting to use the application all over the world. You get it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Awesome. Now, the real work of the DevOps engineer is to automate this process of taking the codes, all right, and then releasing the codes here. It's not a one-line process. This work from the moment the code is written or modified to the point where the code is deployed to production. This place is called production because whatever is here is available to the whole world. So between here and here, it has to be automation. So this is the work of the DevOps engineer, the automation between here and here. So it is in this process of automation that we'll now talk about we are going to build this pipeline, CI/CD pipeline that will use different tools along the implementation of this pipeline so that we are not manually doing this job, we are automating this job. And that is where we are going to learn the tools that you saw in the advert, the G, the Maven, the Jenkins, the Docker, and so on and so forth. So this is the big deal. After you have learned this part of the process and you are a cloud solutions architect, you now also learn how to take codes, build them into applications, and deploy those applications in infrastructure. At this level, not manually, do it in automation. They have their own automation tools. Then you are now ready to go into the market as a DevOps engineer, starting at least 100K per annum.
Please, I have a request.
All right.
Okay, when you were explaining that's the work of a DevOps engineer, I didn't really get that. Do you mind maybe revisiting it again?
Okay. So I was saying that, first of all, did you get the solution architect part? Did you get this part?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So after you have built the infrastructure, or after the solutions architect has built the infrastructure, what is the goal? Why did you build the infrastructure? So that you can deploy application. Now, the application that will run Tesla, that will automate the car Tesla so that you can have the world, generally we're automating the world now. We're not just automating cars, we're automating everything. And that is the place for you as IT people. So let's even say we are automating Tesla. So the codes that would put in Tesla, or actually Tesla is not a car, Tesla is a computer, it's a machine that has wheels. So it has to be constantly connected to the server that is driving it, that is telling it, do this, do that. So when the cloud solutions architects stop at deploying the infrastructure and the server being ready, where do we get the codes from? The Tesla codes that will automate the car to put in the server. So Tesla would have hired or contracted like 3,000 developers across the world. Of course, 90% of them in India, maybe 10% in US, or maybe 8% in US, 1 in Nigeria, 1 in China, and so on and so forth. So these people are building the codes, building codes. They are writing the programs, that's what I mean, that will run Tesla. So when they write programs, they make these programs available, like you will see, through different tools. So it is the DevOps engineer that will pull all of these programs that have been, some of them written by Indians, by Chinese, by Nigerians. The DevOps engineer will pull the codes and use a tool called Maven, for example, to compile all of those codes. All those 3,000 lines of code, everything will be compiled, and only one file will come out from all of those codes. That executable file becomes your application. And then maybe you run it on your system. Oh, it's working, it's working. All right. So the application is not for your system. It should be deployed in server, where all Tesla vehicles can access it and know, and then be able to run themselves.
Okay.
So now that you have compiled the codes and you have compiled all of the codes into a single file called application, you need to take this code now and take it all the way to server, to the infrastructure that you provisioned earlier on as a solutions architect, and put it in that server. Once it's in that server, all Tesla's cars have been programmed and connected through IP version 6 to that server. And they are now, oh, I'm aware now. I mean, they can see now. They have eye now, traditional eye, so to speak, and they can see. And all of a sudden, the car that was going this direction, because it's not connected to the code that tells you what to do, it's now knows what to do. Just like even humans are being directed and different bug. We actually believe, thinking along these lines, and that even humans are programs by some. All right. So the process of building an application out of those codes and then taking the codes and putting it in the infrastructure, or more specifically in the server that you have prepared for it, so that the whole world, in this case, all Tesla cars would see it. It's not a manual process. You don't run to India to say, have you built the code? Give it to me. China, have you built the code? Give it to me. Then you run back to US, you compile all of the code, and then you are looking for, no, it's not manual. Everything must be automated, so that as soon as the Indian guy completes his code, it triggers something along that production line, and then it will drop on the belt until it gets to the place where we, and so on and so forth. So I'm saying that that process is an automated process, and as DevOps engineer, you are going to learn all of the tools and how to use them to automate the process from the point the code is written all the way to the point when that code becomes an application, and that application is, let me give you an idea of what happens. That application is tested, that application is, a version of that application is made and saved locally, and then it is tested again, and then it is deployed in a local machine just to see that it is working, there's no error. And after that, you create containers out of your virtual machines, and then you deploy it into containers, test again within the container, and then once everything is fine, it is now deployed into containers that you build with Kubernetes on production. It is at that point that it becomes globally available. If anything happens during any of the stages in that process, it does not go further. It goes back, and that error is corrected until it passes that stage before it goes to the next. So all of that is automated, just like we talked about the automation of infrastructure, using infrastructure as code. There is also automation of application deployment, and that is the work of a DevOps engineer. So 2 kinds of automations, right? One automation would automate the setup of infrastructure. It stops there. Another automation would automate the process of building the codes into app and deploying the app into that environment. So two parts. So the DevOps person should know both parts. You have already known the first one. In addition to that, you should also know this second part. So it is the process of automating the codes to application that I call CI. It means continuous integration. Don't worry, we'll see. And then the other part, from when it becomes an application all the way to deployment to production, that's the part that I call CD, continuous delivery or continuous deployment. It is the name that we give to the processes. Let me give you an analogy. So you have a you drill petroleum on the rig, all right? But your refinery is like 500 kilometers away, all right? So once you drill the petroleum, the crude oil, you put it on a pipeline and it runs through that pipeline all the way till it gets to the refinery. At the refinery, it's refined and the different products, petrol, kerosene, and all of that is extracted from the crude. That's the scenario I'm trying to paint. The crude, in this case, are the raw codes, the codes, right? Written in India, in China, and all of that. And then pipeline that is set up is the process of automation so that you don't, as soon as you are drilling, simultaneously as you are drilling the oil, the crude oil, it is being pumped into the pipeline, and the pipeline is leading it all the way to the refinery, and it's going into the refinery and it's being refined. The whole process is already automated. You don't call tanker, our crude oil is ready, come and pull it so that you take it. No, no, no. It's already, the mechanical automation is equivalent to the IT automation that I'm talking about with codes and deployment.
Thank you very much.
Ahead, right?
For that explanation.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, like from what you just said, to just reiterate what you explained now, like for DevOps just entails collating that's programs written by developers, and that's putting it together and automating the process towards deployment.
Mm-hmm. That's
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why it's called DevOps. The dev means the DevOps person is between development and operations. So everything that happens from development, like you said, all the way till it gets to operations, the DevOps person is in charge. So that's why we write. Where's that? Can you see my screen? Can you see the spelling of DevOps here?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So that is why we write this as dev. Dev. And then when we write the other up, we write capital O. So this is the operations, what I called production earlier on. It's also called operation. And this is the developer. So everything that happens between development, like Jesse explained, all the way till it gets here, this is development and operations. Interfacing between operations and development.
Sir, one question, sir. Sir, what is the link between the infrastructure as code Terraform and the developers? Did they have anything common? Yes, sir.
Okay, so this part now, can you see here? This infrastructure here was deployed with infrastructure as code. Did you see that? You know, this is our infrastructure.
Yes.
This is our server.
Yeah.
This is our security. This is our cloud.
Okay.
Everything here was made possible, was automated using infrastructure as code. Now, developers are they are programmers, what we used to call programmers. So they learned programming languages like C++, C, Java, Python. What other programming language have you heard of? Java is very popular.
JavaScript.
Yeah. Okay, JavaScript, although it's more popular for front-end. PHP.
Okay.
So these are the really back-end. So the developers are using these kinds of programming languages to write these codes, whereas the infrastructure as code, the cloud architect is not necessarily using all of this, even though he could. Instead, he's using tools like Terraform and others. Terraform. So do you get it? So when people come to ask me, is there coding in DevOps? When we say coding, actually, when we say coding, this is what comes to mind. All these programming languages, otherwise called SDKs, software development kits. And most of the time I will say, no, there is no coding because we are not using any of this. It is when you use this that we say we are coding, we are coders. But what we are using here, for what we call coding here, is just a tool that, you can learn this even in 2 hours. You can learn this too. So to differentiate between this coding and this coding, we generally call this kind of coding scripting. And then we call this one coding or software. So developers are the real programmers, whereas these guys are just using tools to automate. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So from what you just said now, that's in describing, I know you're still describing the modules in the program.
Yes.
But from what you've just shown now, that means we are taking 2 things. That's if we complete the program, we are taking 2 things from it. We are training to gain a wide range of skills, more like to be a cloud architect and as well as a DevOps engineer.
That's
Am
right.
I okay? So okay. I
That's
just wanted to.
And then this is the everything here is useful. I don't even know what to take off now. So the pyramid of supply and demand is like that. All right. So DevOps are right there, somewhere around there. If you're a DevOps engineer, you are highly sought after and the pay is good. But if you're a cloud solutions architect, you are somewhere there. If you're a Linux person, you are somewhere around here. All right. So there are more supply and less opportunities as just a Linux person. As AWS person without automation, this is where you are. As somebody who knows automation, you can now begin to see, yes, I'm an IT person. But as DevOps, they will not let you rest. All the companies will be pulling you left and right, come and work for us, because you are in high demand. Right? We are not we are not leaving you at this point. We are taking you all the way. And then somebody will finish Linux and come and ask me, oh, we'll finish Linux, would I get a job? How can you get a job? We just, no, IT is not that cheap. It's not to say that it's completely impossible, but the likelihood is very, very slim. Because even though the job description, the work out there will say they are looking, you can note this and you are going to experience it. The job title is going to say we are looking for cloud architect. But by the time you read the job description, you are going to see that they are requiring the knowledge you have here, the knowledge you have here, the knowledge you have here. And then you are wondering, why then did you call it cloud architect? Why did you not just call it DevOps engineer? So the title does not really matter. It is the JD that gives you a detailed overview of the expectation. And that is why, let's just stop there so that we don't load you. But by the time you now know DevOps, even with all of these tools covered in the modules, it's still possible. It's it's not just possible, it's frequent to see that they say they are looking for DevOps engineer, and then they require that you know maybe 1 or 2 of this. If you know 1 or 2 of this, what are you?
Developers.
So these days, they're even looking for people who can do cloud architecting, can do DevOps, and they can do development. 1 person. It's not so common. If you find people like that will just stay with Google for 6 months and Amazon will come and pull them because it takes 7 years to get to that level. All right, but at least let us get you to this level and then leave the job of developers to developers. However, after 3, 4, 5 years of because as a DevOps person, you are between developers and operations. After 3, 4, 5 years of constantly working with these people, it is likely that you would have gotten used to at least one of the tools that they use. And it is likely that this tool that is always confusing me, let me even take 3 weeks off, go and learn it and come back. Then you might just go and be an expert in maybe this. In addition to what you already know that has been giving you 120 or 150K every month, you cannot know this.
So
at that level, you cannot say, instead of doing 2 jobs of 150, or maybe 1 job of 100, another job of 150, or and 250, it will be very common with IT people. You cannot say, I want just 1 job with 1 fund that will just give me 350. Then you can focus on that. Yes. Yes, you are going to ask a question, right?
Yes, sir. So what are the major challenges of DevOps?
And we'll get there. I will not start the course. When we start, anywhere but with once the training is thorough and good and deep,
okay,
training itself would have taken care of the challenge. So challenges just means that something that is troublesome that you have difficulty with, you have not found a way around it. But once the training is good and it gives you a shortcut or alternative around it, once others are seeing it as a challenge for you, it's not a challenge. But in any case, yeah, you would identify them yourself because all of this talk is practical. So by the time I say, go and set up this tool, and you try it first and second time. We did it in class once, everything went smoothly. There was no problem. But you have to do it by yourself. And thought you're struggling with it, then you will know by yourself that this is challenging for you. So we'll know when. All right, so that is the overview of the course. All right, it's good that you've been asking questions, helping us to throw more light in gray areas. So now we can ask general questions about, yeah.
Sorry, sir. I know you are still talking about, you after the, that's the 3rd module.
Okay.
The 4th one is DevOps. I know you just came into it and you are still elaborating on it. I know you've elaborated, but is there any other thing aside, maybe?
No, it's only DevOps. So the DevOps will 2 parts. We call the first one DevOps tools, and we'll call the second one DevOps projects. It's just for the purpose of splitting them into 2 months. Otherwise, DevOps is DevOps.
Okay, so what does the project entail?
The project entails come into a class with nothing provided at all and set up this whole, no, the only thing that is provided is these codes from the developer. Set up this whole process from here all the way to here.
I didn't understand that.
That's the project.
Many projects? Yes, I got that. How many projects are we going to be working on?
It's not about how many, it's about understanding the process, the format, the principle.
Okay.
Yes. Once you get it right for one principle, it's boring repeating that same principle for everything. It's the same thing. If I say step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3, do this, and you do it for one project and you understand it, it's just a matter of changing the title of the project or changing the name of the company. It's the same thing. So DevOps is a way of doing things. It's a concept. So once you get the concept and you follow those principles, it's not about the matter of projects. But in any case, we are going to learn these tools individually and practice it, learn this tool, use it to do something that you see, learn this tool. So at the end of the day, having just one session, one long session where there was no server and there was nothing at all, and you set up everything from scratch by yourself, nothing can be deeper than that. Nothing can be deeper. The only thing that is provided for you is the codes because you are not a programmer. All right. You set up your working server, you deploy all of these tools in the server, you set up your operations, you deploy your Docker and your Kubernetes there. Man, it's a lot of work, and being able to do all of that by yourself, you don't need 3, 7, 8 projects. And confidently repeat that same process anyway.
Okay.
Whether it's for a pharmaceutical company or for a Silicon Valley company, is the same process. It doesn't matter what the product. So at interview levels, this is what they expect you to know. For them to say, okay, come to, when the recruiter calls you and say, come to, we saw your resume, we're interested, what and what do you know? The questions that is going to ask you to shortlist you for the interview proper. Everything will be covered here. Your understanding of this concept and the overview. Anyway, we've not started, but this is very, very high level. You'll be expected to go just a little lower. Then the interview proper will now be testing, okay, when you were here, what did you do? You will now be testing the detail of what you accomplished. What tool did you use here? Kubernetes. Oh, you used Kubernetes, fine. How did you deploy, how would you deploy up to 15 pods using only 2 servers? How do you mesh 2 servers together to become a cluster? Questions. All right. Well, this is only the first day, and I'm really giving you too much already for one day, so that your brain does not. All right. So that's the overview.
Okay.
All right, so let's take general questions. All right, already we know that the course is in the first 1 month we'll cover Linux, and classes will hold Mondays and Tuesdays, right? Mondays and Wednesdays. Was that what we agreed?
I thought Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Yes, when I thought Mondays and Wednesdays, that's what I saw.
Yeah, 2 days a week, Mondays and Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Mondays and Wednesdays.
Wednesdays and Wednesdays.
For Linux.
Yes, for Linux and AWS stuff.
Yes. All right, so I'll take you Linux and prepare you for AWS. Another trainer will be taking you AWS. Then after that, yet another trainer will take you infrastructure as code. That's the way we have distributed the job. And then after infrastructure as code, you come back in May for DevOps.
So quick question, are we going to be for, when are we starting the AWS, please?
1 month after we started DevOps. So approximately on the 1st of November.
Okay, so does that mean for Linux, Monday, are we going to be here?
Yes, Mondays and Wednesdays. Every Monday
Mondays
and Wednesday will be here for Linux.
Okay,
6
great.
Are you going to, sorry. Are you going to share the link to this recording?
Yes. I'll put the link on the forum.
All right, thank you.
Yes, 2 hours after class. So, and then manuals, we share manuals and then resources. We don't really need much on your laptop. All we need is access to the cloud. The tools and resources that we need for practice are in cloud. So once you can connect to AWS, we are good. All right, questions?
Okay, after based on the structure of the program, I'm just trying to know in terms of, like, I know there's I don't know, I'm trying to to express what I want to say clearly.
Okay.
Like, that's after the training. I think there is something about maybe interview prep and more like optimizing one stuff, maybe for recruitment and all of that. So what does that entail actually?
Yeah, it's actually part of the training. It's not like one big deal that comes at the end of the training. But we are going through DevOps like we're already doing now.
Okay.
We are giving you, okay, this part of the course, take note. interviewer to normally ask questions around here, okay? So that is one part. Then the resume that employers will see and they will call you to say, we saw your resume on LinkedIn, come for interview. That resume is already ready, it's waiting for you. But you need to go through the training so that you're able to defend the content of that resume.
Okay.
Before I give it to you.
Okay, I get that.
And then third of all, I have a 270-page document that contains all the possible questions that anyone can ask and be asked at interview for the role, whether it's for the role of DevOps engineering within what you will cover, or for other related IT tech roles. Everything is completed. I also give you that as a gift at the end of the course, so that you should be familiar with the contents that are related to your role already, because we would have covered them. You just get a better idea of what answers they expect. Question and answer. All right.
Okay.
So yes, those three things will come only at the end of the training.
Okay. So because I read about so like, for example, now when we are done with this program, because I know some jobs now they require one to have maybe a number of years of experience and all of that. So how does that apply to us, for example?
So the content of this program is preparing you for 4 years experience. So you should be able to claim that you have had 4 years of experience after this training. Because everything I'm asking you to practice here that we'll be doing in class, you see, is this in my drawing board?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All of this going into cloud using Linux commands to achieve all of this. Ideally, you need to have spent some 2 to 4 years in the industry to be able to do them all. So as long as you can defend them, as long as they ask a question and you know the answer only because you have practiced, then it's okay to claim 4 years. And it's only at the level of maybe 4 years that you can be paid something around the 100K. And it's not the first time. I mean, yes, just make sure you practice. The quality of practice, the quality of training that you are going to go through in the next 5 months is enough to claim 4 years. So I'm expecting you to claim 4 years. And you can actually claim that you have had those 4 years with my company, theITern, where you train.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, people call all. So it's really about, do you know this stuff? I mean, even when they call me, I mean, your colleagues that are already in the industry, it's nothing serious. It's just about, we're about to hire this person. How do you know him? Do you think he's responsible enough for this role? What are his strong points? Just simple questions like that. At that level, they already made up their mind they're hiring.
Okay.
By the time they are calling me as a reference, they already know. They already been.
Okay. Like, I'm sorry, I seem to have a lot of questions.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm sure even your colleagues are happy that you're asking because it's beneficial to them.
Yeah. So, like for me now, I'm based in Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah. So the goal for me now is to, because we're actually in a skill-based economy. Let me use that, and yeah, and that's why I value the program more. Like it's focused on skills rather than just getting a degree. Or yeah, so like for me now, it's in Nigeria, and maybe when I'm done with this program, I may want to relocate maybe to somewhere like the UK or Ireland or some other place. I don't know. How does this sit well for me? Does is it benefit?
With this program in Nigeria, you would even get a sponsored visa. With this quality of training, working from Nigeria, you can defend it. You get a sponsored visa.
Okay.
What I mean is you can get a job in Nigeria and then the company will sponsor you over to come and work for them.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
You can
Okay.
with this quality of program. Not many people in Nigeria know. And then we had somebody that's like 2 years ago. He wasn't my trainee, 2019, who self-trained, self-taught himself, wrote the certification. And at that time, DevOps was not even popular, so he definitely did not do DevOps. He stopped at solutions architect. And today he's in Ireland, although he's already tired and he's looking for bigger things. At that time, it was 8,000 euro. He got the job in Nigeria, and everything was sponsored for him and himself and his family.
Okay.
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
You know, I already have I self-trained, I self-taught, and I have the AWS.
You said
Hello?
You said I didn't get the first 2 terms you mentioned.
Yeah, I said I taught myself, I studied on my own, and I got I'm a certified AWS and solutions architect associate.
Okay.
I put out my resume on LinkedIn. Yesterday evening, I got a call from a company, CrossPeak. I actually have an interview on Monday for a service voice cloud solutions architect. So I don't know if I'm fully ready for that. But what I'm doing now, I'm just brushing through my AWS and then trying to look into Terraform before Monday.
Okay.
So do you think I don't know? It's my first interview. So, and it's in the afternoon. So by the time we meet on Monday evening, I will share with the class how that went.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yes,
It'll be a nice experience to share. Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
All the best.
So
thank you, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's nice. It's a good one. Like for me now, I'm actually from an accounting background. Yeah, so I actually studied accounting and I worked in a different field altogether. So I'm just trying to transition into the IT space.
Yeah, you don't have problem at all. We had a class in I think, was it last year? I don't remember. 2021, yes. And then there was this guy in class. He was an accountant, and then we had computer scientist, and the accountant was the first guy to get job. After class, he was the first person to get job, and it's one of our. It's the number one on our testimony list. Yusuf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was the first to get job more than. In fact, it was the motivation for the others who got job later on. And then he took it upon himself to personally coach. I mean, they had a group of 3, and anyway, the point I'm making is he was really influential in spite of not being a tech person. He got a job and actually influenced many other people to get them. Yeah. So I'm just telling you that.
Okay.
That's not a disadvantage at all.
So, sir.
Yeah.
So, if we get a job, do we get help on the job? Like,
from me, no. From me, no. I cannot pretend to know what your company is doing and what they're asking you to do. So it will be. This will be a good networking, and then by the time we move you to the alumni forum as well. And then you are meeting people like the person I just described earlier on, the accountant who has influenced so many people to get jobs. And then you might be able to rub minds and share ideas like that. Or if the job is high paying and you feel that you can spare $1,000 monthly, then there are Indians that are there in India waiting for people like you to hire them to be in the background.
I want to ask a question.
Yes.
Okay. So, how do you connect this to product management in the cloud space?
That is a different department that I'm not so conversant with. Product management.
Yeah, I have a decent background in product management, although I'm not a product person right now.
Okay. So who do you product manage for?
I product manage for no. I do just software product, not a cloud service. So now I'm just trying to get into cloud generally. So I want to also bring my.
So what do you do in your product management?
It's basically deciding what product to go for this company I work for, partly because it's a part-time thing. Because
You are breaking. I don't hear you.
I think it's the internet where I am. Government.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Yes, product management is a different aspect of not too different from technical. Actually, for Amazon and all the funds, the funds, the big tech companies, the big,
yeah, I know the
biggest fund. Yeah, product management is actually the managerial level of a tech role. So in tech role, you are just on your system using all of these tools to achieve business goals. But as a product manager, you are now managing resources, especially human resources under you. So it's no longer like 100% tech. It's now about managing people who use tech to something like that.
I understand that. I understand that, but I'm just asking how you can, because I saw a job advert for cloud product management.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that I cannot help with that because it's not my area.
Okay.
I cannot prepare you for that role. My own area of specialization is just DevOps. Even the cloud, I really cannot, because it's just a bus stop. So I don't want to have my attention divided so many areas. So I just want to focus on the one thing that I'm not able to prepare you specifically for that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Along the same lines as the last person who spoke,
Yeah.
I want to ask more like what's the connect between, for example, now DevOps and cloud, that's cloud architecting to information systems? What's the connect? Is there any?
There's always connect as long as it's all IT, but that's not the primary thing. Let's not waste energy on, especially now that we are not even started the training. So maybe 1, 2, 3 months after we start training, all of these questions we just answer themselves.
Okay.
All right. So that's enough intro. I know you may have other questions in your mind, but like I said, they will clear themselves out. All right, so we're meant to do 2 hours, but you have questions, I'll keep up for another 30 minutes, fine. Otherwise, I'll let you go now so that you can prepare and then we'll start it. Today is Saturday, right? We'll have our first class, same time on Monday. And then if there are materials that I need you to have, not likely, but apart from sharing this video, if I decide that I need you to have the manual before class, I'll just share it on the forum. So the essence of the forum is not just to share material, but also for you to share issues. So you are practicing and you have a problem. We did something in class and you are trying to do it on your own and it's not working. You cannot claim it and put it in your resume if it's not working. You have to be able to do it for you to say, yes, I can do it, and then put it in your resume. So what you do is take a photo, take a screenshot of the issue you are having and post it on the forum. And then I will be there to support you. Oh, this is what you are doing wrong, do it right. And then once you do it and you get it right, add to the experience that you are creating before you. All right.
Okay.
So it will act as our technical support for you.
Okay. I do have a question. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Pertaining. Okay. Like, I don't know. Will assignments be given at the end of every class?
No. You have enough to practice.
Is that?
You have enough to practice.
Okay.
So we come to class, we say what we are doing today is setting up a web server. This is how to do it. Everybody's watching, you are understanding, you are taking your notes. And then after class, you go ahead and set up your own infrastructure and deploy the web server. So if you want to say that is just, as for practicals, there's always something to practice. If you want to call that assignment, it's okay.
Okay. And
Always
when
something.
we do that, will it be evaluated to see if it was done right?
No,
Okay.
that's old school. You are in cloud, you are seeing things for yourself, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
they are working. So yeah,
Okay.
you are in cloud. Whether they are working or they are not, you are seeing it right away. You don't need the third party to come and monitor.
Okay.
So the public IP address is there, you copy it and you browse it. If it's not browsing, if it's giving errors, you know that you have to go back and correct it.
Okay.
By the time you go back the 7th time and you get it corrected, you breathe a sigh of relief and oh, finally I got it. And then you note in your head what you did wrong. You should never do it wrong.
Okay.
Heads up, I'll be late on Monday.
Sorry?
I will be late on Monday. I'll join very late.
Oh, okay. But you'll be in class.
I'll probably
You'll be late to class, but you.
I'll
Okay.
probably be in class like 30 to 40 minutes late.
No problem. And even if you are not in class at all, no problem. You have the videos. The videos are not edited. So we just push them to you the way we had them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So for DevOps, what are the typical like after the course now, what are the typical job openings that we can apply for example?
We'll talk about them when we get there.
Okay.
All right. So Samson, did we hear your voice at all? Ideally, you should be introducing yourself and showing me a video of you. I mean, this is US class. We are supposed to be intimate. I mean, what I mean is I'm supposed to know you one-on-one as my trainee, so that when you get job, which you will, I'm able to remember that, oh, this was the guy who I should know you. But if you are not comfortable showing your face, it's okay. But let's just do a quick intro. Everybody should talk, introduce themselves, whatever you wish us to know. Let's start with Temidayo.
Yes, my name is Temidayo Ajibade. I live and work in Baltimore, Maryland, USA. So I'm self-employed.
What do you do now?
I'm self-employed. I do business.
What do you do? Go business. Okay.
I do business. Yeah, I do business. So I just decided to go into, into IT because I asked of my friends, a few of my friends, and I also did Scrum Master 3 years ago. So, and I took some time, like 2 months, to check which of the area I would fit in. And after consulting, doing some research, making some inquiry, I decided I would go for DevOps. So, and that's why I'm here.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Temidayo, thank you. Yeah, who's next? Anyone?
Okay,
Hello, everyone. Okay, Lady Go.
Yeah. No,
Go
you're
ahead.
already on inside. You can go.
Okay, who I go?
Yes.
All right.
Go.
All right, so this. All right, my name is Oseje Okinameme, but I go by the name Okino. I'm an engineer, mechanical and then a petroleum engineer, though I never practiced as an engineer. Right from school, then I started my business, logistics and shipping, inland shipping, ocean. I've been doing that for the past 11 years. And then I have my business that God's grace in a place where
do you hear her, Sadi?
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Okay, was it my internet? You were lagging for a long time. Okay.
So yes, I just this year, actually the later part of last year, I needed to go into IT because I've back in Nigeria, I did a bit of IT, and then before I came to the US. So I decided to I actually have an entrepreneurial mindset, so I believe I can do well with IT, business and IT. So before you can get a business, you have to start to get a job first in it. So that's why I chose, made my research. I chose cloud computing, it fits well with my reasoning. So that's why I chose cloud computing and then take it all the way to DevOps.
Awesome. Thank you. I like your name, Ukinameme.
Yes, sir.
You're surprised I pronounced that right?
Ukinameme, you pronounced it very, very well, excellently.
Mm-hmm. That's why I like it, because I know the meaning. Awesome.
You know the meaning, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what does it mean, please? If you could tell me.
Oh, you don't know the meaning of your name?
I do. I
May
just
this,
want to.
this season be good for me. May this
Oh,
moon,
wow.
this season of the moon.
Wow. Awesome. That's great.
And you said me the Lord sent.
Whoa, it's like you stayed in a do. I don't understand. Wow, that is great. That's great.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
God sent.
That's right. And
Awesome.
I try to leave my name actually. God sent.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Good to know.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Sadi. Who is next?
Yes, sir.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Bolanle Fajemulokun. I am a doctor. I'm in the healthcare space. Currently, I work for LifeBank and the subsidiary. I'm the director of partnerships, and for the subsidiary, I'm the CEO. I have been in the healthcare space for over 20 years, and I want to transit to IT for two main reasons. First, because I live in Nigeria currently, and we all know about the inflation and the dropping value of the Naira. And the second thing is I'm desperate to work from home. So I'm trying to transit into the IT space. I find the IT space very interesting, and the remuneration is a plus. So yeah, it's great to meet all of you. And I look forward to learning all there is to learn about DevOps.
Awesome. Thank you, Babande. And then, of course, we're happy to have you. All right, thank you. Who's next?
Hello.
Yes. Anyone wants to introduce themselves? Or are you all busy at one person?
Hello, my name is Samson Oladapo. I'm a petroleum engineer. I live in Houston, Texas. I'm so excited to join this class, and trying to, venture into a new field I've never ventured into. Heard of how lucrative the IT industry is, and I want to explore it, and I hope I'm making the right choice. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, Samson, thank you. Yeah, I mean, looks like we have a petroleum engineer this day, at least one in every class. That's good. All right, thank you. Who is next? Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Frederick.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, I am a medical doctor by training, but currently a combat medic in U.S. Army, still in San Antonio here, Texas. So I just wanted to get into the IT space because it gives me the ability to work from home. It's less stressful than being a medic. Basically, my wife is in the IT space. She's a product manager for a very big retail agent company. So she made me really like the IT thing, and I learned so much from her to the point that I became a product manager for my friend's company, IT space. And it was so convenient for me.
Wow.
So now I want to get proper IT skills. That's why I'm really kind of using all my bonuses to pay for this program. I already committed it to the end of the program, so I don't mind how long it's going to take. I just want the skill set in a full IT skill set, so I can really function properly as an IT person.
Wow,
thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Wow. Great to have you.
Same here, sir. So.
Yeah. All right. Is it all done? Anyone else?
Hello,
Yeah.
hello everyone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Yes, go on, please.
Hello everyone. Yeah, my name is
Hello.
Fakesh. My name is Fakesh Fumi. I work with Lagos State Safety Commission. I'm based in Nigeria, Lagos. As a consultant, food safety. That's what I am into. I saw the DevOps through Instagram page and I read through, I got interested. I decided to okay, I'm going to go for the course. And here I am. I hope I would be able to make use of this DevOps to the best of my knowledge and gain something more.
Okay. Yeah. All right, thank you so much for me. So looks like we have at least 3 persons joining us from Nigeria. Wow, that's a lot.
Okay, I'm next.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, hello
Thank you,
everyone.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, I'm Jesse.
Jesse.
Yeah, I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria. And my background is in accounting, but I never practiced accounting. Yeah.
Wow.
So I worked in administration with the Nigerian Army. And I actually discharged from service a few years ago. And after discharging from service, I actually I've been helping out in a family business. And I've always had interest in IT, even when I was going for accounting. I always had interest in it. So I've really been thinking about, exploring my interest in that area. So, and I've considered going for a graduate program, but I feel I should build skills first, before going for that. So doing anything that pertains to that. So that's why I'm here.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, and welcome to class.
Thank
All
you.
right, at least we know ourselves now. So feel free to relate with one another on the forum, because no experience. You don't necessarily gather all of the experience from one place. Whatever little you can get from here, another little from everything else. All right, are we missing anyone? We've all introduced ourselves, right? I think so.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be 9 in class. Somebody's not here. All right, and then hopefully we'll grow beyond 10. All right, guys, that's about all for day 1, the inauguration. And then we'll share the video in about 2 hours. It takes up to that to be ready for upload to YouTube. I don't know, share the link. And that's it. Okay. So I'll see you guys on Monday, 6 p.m. Texas time.
Okay, thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet everyone here. Okay.
Thank
Nice
you.
to
Thank
meet
you very
everyone,
much.
and all the best.
Yeah, thanks.
right.
We'll definitely work together. Yeah, so.
All righty. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, sir.